morning, everyone. Again, thank you for coming, joining today. And again, it is nice and lovely to be back after, I guess, maybe 5 years. So I would like to start with a short mindful breathing exercise to quiet and calm our mind, to bring our mind in moment and present and calm, and then trying to cultivate good intention, motivation for being here. And then we'll start. So try to make yourself as relaxed, as comfortable as possible. And then try to watch your breath mindfully as you inhale and exhale naturally. Then try to be aware. When you breathe in, be aware you are breathing in. When you are breathing out, be aware you are breathing out. So then we can try to cultivate good intention, motivation for being here by us coming here together, giving our precious time, effort. May all these become cause and conditions to transform our mind. To have less delusion or afflictive emotions. And to have better conducive conditions to cultivate and fully develop all the positive state of minds, all the spiritual realizations. so we can be more and better health and benefit to oneself and to others. And may it be cause and conditions to obtain our highest potential, the fully awakened state. So we can be not only help and benefit to others, but to be greatest help and greatest benefit. And not only for some sentient beings, to be able to be greatest benefit to each and every sentient beings. And in order to obtain this highest potential and to be more benefit and help to others and oneself, we need to transform and improve our attitude, our mind. And for that, we need to practice, meditate, contemplate. And for that, we need to be encouraged, inspired, and reminded of those practices all the time. For that very reason that we have gathered here, so we can be reminded of those important practices. So we can integrate in our everyday life after being reminded, and so we can begin to see some positive changes over the time. Okay, so then we can do the refuge and bodhicitta prayer. Sangye chedan soge chonam chanchu padu tani kyapsu shin. Sangye shuje gibe sonam ke yola benje sangye juba shu. Sangye chedan soge chonam chanchu padu tani kyapsu shin. Sangye shuje gibe sonam ke Benje sangye juban sangye chudan soge shonam shanju padu dani yasuchi sangye chuju gibe sonam ge shonam benje sangye juban. So today we are going to be doing some discussion talk on particular Devi, Tara, Mother Tara, and maybe we'll do some practice, and then I will also take some cautions. So And I thought of maybe, we have 2 sessions in the morning, 2 sessions afternoon with some break. And we'll see, whether we will be able to do practice in every sessions or maybe few of them. So as many of you might be aware, Mother Tara, is known as Yidam, personal deity, meditational personal deity. So that is, in Tibetan, we call Yidam. And he is a Buddha or enlightened being in female form, and she is known as Mother Tara, okay? And mother of all the Buddhas. So sometimes the Prajnaparamita is also known as the mothers of the victorious ones of the Buddhas, and similarly, Tara is also, manifestation of that. So in that way, she's also called Mother Tara. So we use such as Tara as a Yidam or personal meditation deity. In our practice, meditations, to develop inner qualities, enlightened qualities, just as Mother Tara has cultivated. So it is like, we use that in order to develop same inner qualities that she has. So it's like a kind of the inspirations that we want to be like herself. We want to be cultivate her own like inner quality like herself. And then also, in order to develop the inner quality like herself and to become fully enlightened, by developing, unconditional true love, compassion, bodhicitta mind, and wisdom, all the spiritual experiences or realizations, and to become fully enlightened and become like herself, source of happiness for all sentient beings, to become a greatest benefit to all sentient beings. So we use that. And also, to overcome, reduce and overcome all the obstacles, external, internal, secret obstacles that there might be in order to develop those inner qualities, to progress in our spiritual path, and that those obstacles come in many different forms, sometimes external obstacles, sometimes internal obstacles from mental states, and sometimes it comes in a different other forms. So to overcome all the obstacles, again, Mother Tara is very, very powerful to help to overcome those obstacles. So Tara, in Sanskrit, it means like star, northern star, that is Tara, and so it's like the guidance, the northern star show you the light and path. Similarly, Tara is the guidance. Severe, that, and in Tibetan, Tara is translated as Dolma, meaning liberator. So she's known as Liberator Mother. Who help us to liberate from our samsaric state. Samsara, where there is always suffering, problems, so she's the one that guide and help us to free from the samsara. So that is Mother Tara. And it is also explained that, Tara is, when you rely on Tara, Mother Tara, as I mentioned, it helps to overcome the obstacles so that we can make progress. Sometimes we get stuck because there's the obstacles. We cannot make any progress. We cannot move. And the reason why we are unable to make progress and move is because it's blocked and stuck by some obstacles. And by relying on the Tara and through meditations and practice in relation to Tara, it helps to overcome that obstacle, whatever blockage, whatever obstructions that there is. Because Tara is the manifestations of all enlightened energy or activities, actions or activities. Things to move and happen, and there need to be some activities, some energy coming together, and there's some active activities, and that makes things happen. So that is what that energy is. So she is the manifestation of that enlightened, all the enlightened activities. And when we talk about activities, then in Vajrayana teaching, then they talk about different kind of activities, peaceful, wrathful, extensions, empowering, so different kind of activities. And then within the Tara, there are many different forms. Okay. Most common is, green Tara, white Tara, and then of course there is, red Tara, yellow Tara, black Tara, different colors, there's 21 Tara, as well. So again, same is the same Tara, but coming in different manifestation or different form or different aspect in order to for different functionings. They all are the same enlightened beings, but they have individual kind of, more special or unique functioning for different purpose. And so, and Tara and Cherese or Avalokiteshvara are the most well-known common deity, especially in Mahayana and especially in Tibetan Mahayana Buddhism. They are like almost like the figure of father and mother. Even there is some historically how Tibetan people came from, is from the manifestation of Tara and Avalokiteshvara. That is how there is a story of that as well. So it is Tara and Cherisik Avalokiteshvara very important. And I think, every Tibetans from very young age know, the mantra of Cherisik Avalokiteshvara Om Mani Padme Hum, even the young children. And everyone kind of memorize Tara, 21 Tara phrases by heart. So anyway, and also, if you have noticed, one of the advice His Holiness Dalai Lama give very often, whenever there is some kind of challenges, difficulties, obstacles on individual level or as a collectively, one of the advice is to recite Tara mantra. Like when you had COVID, that was one of the advice he gave, to kind of help to collectively, to overcome the whatever obstacles, cause and conditions that created that kind of manifesting that karma, collective karma, to overcome and to reduce that. And it is also very good, even just recently, the Tibetan government sent some announcement to all the Tibetans and devotees of His Holiness, to overcome whatever obstacle there might be for His Holiness or any others, to recite few different practice or mantras, and again, Tara was one of them. So again, that is also, we can also do that also for His Holiness to overcome any obstacle that might be for his good health and longevity and his activities, and also for the collective karmas of the whole sentient beings, the whole world, and individually, whatever obstacle that might be in our country, in our families, and ourselves individually, to recite the mantra, and if we can do the practice properly, even more powerful, to do that. So I think it is wonderful, good, and I guess maybe it's a good start from the Tibetan New Year point of view. We are starting with that. I think, we start the New Year with that practice. And there are many stories, about how, different practitioners, by relying on the Mother Tara, how they were able to overcome their different obstacles, so again, when you have if we have enough strong faith in her, and if we are able to, with that strong faith, devotions, and if we are able to do the practice, then definitely, we can receive the blessings. We can receive the help to overcome whatever obstacle that is, and to reduce the effect of that obstacles. So, and there are many stories about Tara, how Tara come into and maybe, I don't know if I need to. Sometimes there is two different way of understanding when we see, from the story of many of those deities, the Buddhas, conventional relative point of view and ultimate point of view, and then you find slightly different explanation of those deities, how you look from that two deity, from relative point of view, there is stories about, of course, many according to, one of the great Tibetan master Taranatha, in one of his writing, he shared the story of Tara, and Taranatha was one of great scholar and great master in Tibet, around 17th, 18th centuries. And in that, in one of the story of the Tara is that, in one of her previous life, when she was still on the path, she was born as a princess, and then, she invited many Sangha members, and offered them a meal, and then she was very devoted, and then the Sangha, the monks, asked her, that they will dedicate whatever virtues that she had created by making those offerings to have a next life as a male, to come as a male, because I think being a woman was more challenging in old times. I think it is still now, but still in the old time even more challenging, because I guess maybe it's in all different society all over the world, and then she said, thank you for that offer, but I would rather like to achieve enlightenment in this very woman's body, and I don't want to come as a man, but I would rather like to progress my spiritual path, on this same as a woman. So even from that perspective, she was quite strong, and having that kind of, even though it could be challenging because of the society, but still she was very strong-minded, even when she was on the path. She could have chose a little more easy in sense. She might have more opportunity, and but so anyway, so that is one of the story that that when she was on the path, and then there is from more from like in the 21 Tara praises at the first verses. In one first verses, there is a mentioning of Tara arising from the tears of the Avalokiteshvara, So again, that story is that Avalokiteshvara was, because it's the compassion, Bodhisattva compassion Buddha. So then, again, Avalokiteshvara, 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 Avalok liberated so many sentient beings, and then when he try to look, again, it feel like he has not liberated any sentient beings. It's like, oceans. No matter how many cups of water you have already taken away, 100,000s, millions of cups of water you have taken, still it seems like you haven't reduced the water in the ocean, isn't it? The ocean is so big. Even though you might have taken away billions of cups of water from that, still, if you look at the ocean, it seems that you haven't done anything. That is how he felt. Even though he has liberated and helped so many sentient beings, number of sentient beings is so much, countless. It feels like, he haven't been able to. So he almost felt a little bit kind of discouraged, almost felt a little bit discouraged, and then he says, out of that, incredible compassion, the tear came from his eyes, and then from that tear dropped the tears, then Tara arising in the form of Tara, and then Tara say, I will help you. I will support and help you in your path to help to liberate the sentient beings. So that is how Tara came. So again, sometimes Tara, sometimes according to some teachings, commentary, Tara is also known as female form of Buddha of compassion. Avalokiteshvara in Tibetan is a male form. Tara is a female form of compassion Buddha because it is coming from the Avalokiteshvara itself. So it is a Avalokiteshvara's tear manifesting into that in a different form. So again, and then in generally from, it is all the Buddha's enlightened activities, manifesting Tara form in order to help the sentient beings to overcome their obstacles and fulfill and help to achieve their accomplishment. So that is a little bit about Tara herself, in terms of, green Tara. Then, there is the color green, represents, actions or accomplished. So Tara, as I said, Tara is the manifestation of the activities, and so the green is a color of accomplishment or actions. And so that is what it represents. Also, of course, in terms of the elements, green is water, and I wonder whether it's also something to do with the moving, water is always moving, in general speaking. So again, it represents the actions, constantly something happening, moving. So relying on Tara help us to move things instead of being stuck there, Instead of being stuck there, it helped to move, to things to happen, When things are not happening, by relying on that energy of that activities, it helps to things to move, things to happen, things to accomplish, things to achieve, so that is. And then in Tara, you can see, her right hand, in a gesture of giving refuge, at the same time holding the lotus, and then that, that represents giving the mudra or gesture of refuge, and then there's a left and right hand in the gesture of giving realizations, the gesture of giving, again, holding the lotus and giving the gesture or the mudra of giving and the giving of realizations, is a gesture of giving help, especially spiritual realizations. And then her left hand in a cross meditative posture, symbolizing, compassion. And then her legs stretch, and again, symbolizing the compassion and the action, ready to get up and do, any moment, whenever it is needed, in like you are ready to get up and ready to do things, and also it also symbolize wisdom, so compassion and wisdom, and then even in the lotus, sometimes there are three kind of, full blossoming and one seed and one almost ready to blossom. So again, symbolizing the Buddha of three times, past, present, futures. So these are a little bit kind of simple, what it symbolizes, about the Tara, the color, the posture, mudras. So again, sometimes when you understand it, it helps in our practice a little bit to have some little understanding that can be helpful sometimes. Okay. Okay. And yeah. And in Tibet, the practice of Tara, of course, was brought by, Pema Sambhava, Guru Rinpoche, when Buddhism first came in Tibet around 7th centuries, the practice of that, and of course, the practice is already quite well established in India, even before that, in a lot of the ruins of the old monastery, they find Tara statues there, even Nalandas, they found that, so it is something that they practice there, definitely. And also in South India, I went to one of the ruins in South India, in Andhra Pradesh, and also there they also found Tara stone statues there too, from those ruins. So from all this, what it indicated, it was quite common and well known. And then in Tibet, I think it might have become even more stronger practice after Adisha came, around 11th century, 10th, 11th century. Adisha was the main teacher who kind of revived Buddhism in Tibet. Even the Buddhism came around 7th, 8th centuries in Tibet, it went through different phases, and then it declined at a certain time. And then it got a little bit kind of polluted, and then Adisha came and revived to its purity. And Tara was Adisha's meditational deity or idam. He relied on Tara very much for a lot of his spiritual decisions. Even whether he should go to Tibet or not, whether it was beneficial or not, even that one, it's through Tara's advice Um, and Naroba also rely very much on Tara too, so many of those great Siddhis masters, um, their meditational deity, was Tara. So therefore, in Katamba traditions, started by Adisha and Domdempa, there are mainly 4 Buddhas in there, with the Buddha Shakyamuni, the historical Buddha, Tara, then Avalokiteshvara Buddha of compassions, and Tara for activities. And then Vajrapani too. And I don't know why Manjushri was not one of them, I always wondered Manjushri should have been one of them, being the Buddha of wisdom, Avalokiteshvara and wisdom. Manjushri will be but for whatever, I think those are the 4 main deities that in Katamba traditions. And of course, so even in terms of going to Tibet, when Adisha was invited and many times, and at the very beginning he didn't accept, but after he heard some of the very touching stories of the sacrifice they made in order to revive the Dharma, in order to invite him, so he couldn't say no, because, to hear the story of the bodhisattvas of Lama, Changju, and Ishiwe. So, but even then he consulted with Tara, and then whether it would be beneficial for him to go. And the story is that Tara said, it will be very beneficial if you go, but his lifespan will be reduced by 20 years. And it makes sense, because he was not so young at that age. I think he was already in 60s. And then to going from a plain and a hot weather to those mountain very high, cold, in those times, many, probably it might take years to reach there. And everything's different culture, different food, language. Despite that, because so then he decided to go, because it was going to be beneficial for there. And so anyway, so this Tara was the main deity, meditational deity of the Adisha. So I believe that must have also has strong impact, in Tibet. Tara becoming again another important among all the different deities, becoming one of the main figure, and after that, even though the practice was introduced much more earlier too, So like all the deity practice, so is the Tara practice is, combining visualizations, reciting the mantras, and then contemplating meditations. Okay, placement and contemplating meditations. And so it kind of combined many different aspects of the meditations, the compassionate aspect, the wisdom aspect, and the visualizations, and then reciting the mantra, the sound, so maybe I will maybe kind of talk more about the mantras, later. So if we use the practice, whether it's a short form of the practice or longer extensive versions, of course, like all this practice, it can be very simple practice, short, simple practice, or you can expand it, make it more longer, and it can be extremely long as well. So again, that is another beauty of the practice, is that too, if you have less time, you can do more simplified practice. When you have more time, then you can do more longer versions, So again, that is one thing. And when you are extremely busy, then you can just do the mantras as well. Even you don't have to do the practice, do the whole practice, at least, and we can do the mantra recitation anytime. Anytimes while you are driving, you can still recite the mantras. While you are walking, you can still recite the mantras. While you are working on your computer, you can still recite it. While you're on gardening, cooking, cleaning. Sometimes even it seems the practice of just reciting mantras seems, it is not so effective. But if you have the strong belief, faith, devotion, it can have a very strong impact. Even just reciting, even when you don't have time to do proper practice, all the visualization, everything properly. In the many of the teachings, they explain, when you die, if you die with, of course, bodhicitta mind, wisdom, understanding, emptiness, or any other virtuous thought, such as, having a faith or devotion to any of the Buddhas or Guru or Buddhas, or by reciting certain prayer mantras, you don't have to worry about the futures, You don't have to worry about the futures. You have created the best condition for the better futures. No, you don't have to be any fearful. You don't have to be any worried. And when you recite mantra with that kind of devotion, faith every day, all the time, at the time of death, even when physically, mentally, even we're too weak to do extensive practice, but just by doing that with that strong feelings, emotions, it can be very effective. Very effective. A couple of years ago, I was traveling with one of my friends, another monk, and we shared a room. And in the middle of the night, I woke up, and then something like someone was whispering. And I saw, whether he was asleep or in a dream, he was reciting mantra. And I noticed that a few times in our travel for 2 weeks. And I thought that was wonderful. I thought that was wonderful. And I can see during the daytime, he is reciting mantra all the time, even when we were traveling all the time, So the imprint is so strong. Even in a dream, you started reciting. Even in sleep, you started reciting. And also, recently my dad passed away, and when he was in hospital, my brothers who were there taking care of him, again, my brother said in the middle of the night, he heard some kind of sudden sound, and then, then either my father was sleeping, he was in sleep or he was in dream, he was reciting his prayers and the mantras. Then another day he said, maybe it's a sign of death coming. He said, sometimes I want to recite Om Mani Padme Hum, but then in my mouth, Guru Rinpoche's mantra come. And sometimes I want to recite Guru Rinpoche's mantra, but then in the mouth, Avalokiteshvara Om Mani Padme comes. So he mentioned that maybe it's a sign of death coming soon or something like that. Anyway, that is how he felt. In his mind, that is how he felt. And then, when he died, he died while reciting Om Mani Padme Hum. And because throughout the day, that is what he does. Whenever he has any time, when he is tired, he take a nap, do things. But when he have time, he's always reciting the mantras and that. And so I think, so that is very comforting for us to see that. And when then asked for prayer to Lama Sopa Rinpoche and one of my other teachers, Gandhi, and they both mentioned, they asked how he died, and Rinpoche said, oh, he doesn't need my prayer. He has already done the job himself. He doesn't require my prayer. He has taken care of himself. He has done the work himself. And same as Gandhi also says similarly. So that is again, as simple as it seems and easy practice as it seems, just reciting, but if you have the strong devotion, faith, and out of that strong devotion, faith, even just reciting mantras can be extremely powerful, extremely powerful. Also, that is one thing that, that give us when our mind, sometimes our mind is strong, but sometimes things happen in our life, our mind become very, fragile. We lose confidence, trust in ourselves. Sometimes we lose confidence and trust in ourselves. Sometimes we lose trust, confidence in another human beings. But what gives someone a hope in that state is when you have that strong faith and devotion in the deities, Buddhas. That will give you, for such individuals, certain level of hope. Sometimes we feel hopeless for ourselves. We don't have any hope from ourselves. We think, I cannot do anything. Sometimes we lose even hope in another human beings. Even though said, if someone has a very strong, faith in such as Tara or any other deities, then in those state again, something that can lift their mind from being hopeless, from losing hope, trust, confidence, to change anything for the betterness. Again, that can uplift and give some hope and something that, it's become very powerful help and tool, And that is one of the things a lot of people like, even when they had an earthquake in Nepal, 15, I think 2015, very big, one of the biggest earthquake in 100 years. So many people died. And when I discussed with some of the peoples, that I knew, and many of them, the first, is remembering the Buddha Dhamma Sangha or particular Buddha, particular deities, and that was something that that give them hope, something to hold on. And that was the same. Many of the Tibetans who were being imprisoned for 15 years, 20 years. And one of the things that give them hope and continue and without giving up is, again, having that faith and faith in His Holiness Dalai Lama, faith in Buddha Dhamma Sangha, faith in particular deities, and so even from a psychology point of view, I'm just explaining, not the spiritual point of view, the enlightenment and next life and all this is, forget about that, okay? Even this life, from our psychology point of view, how helpful, beneficial it can be to have something like that, not having anything like that. To have something like deity and belief and some kind of faith in that can be incredibly powerful. Sometimes, we think that I don't need that to be strong. I don't need that to be a hope, but you never know what our mind can end up becoming. Our mind, due to certain change in certain situations, certain things sometimes, and in those, a lot of people have found extremely beneficial and helpful, and so that also for us can be too. Yeah, maybe we'll have a break. So again, yeah, we have a short break and then come in 11, and then we can do maybe little practice in questions and answer. Okay, thank you.
Is tea and coffee just where the toilet is? So if anyone needs real coffee, there's a really lovely cafe just in Canada. So you can get really good turmeric lattes and very good coffee as well. Fresh turmeric latte. So back at 11 on the seat.
Maybe I might later. No, I'm good. Yeah.
Prayers in the morning. Sorry. Is it okay you could take it here, or we can put this? We have another table that we can bring here. Put your iPad. Do you want to have a table here?
Maybe if there is extra time.
Yeah.
Hey Des, how you going? There's Des.
Hello, Tashidele.
Hello, Tashidele.
I'll turn the volume up.
I know. I think I don't remember meeting you, but
You don't remember meeting me? I think my hair was different. Yeah.
but I've seen a lot of posting. Your and that
Yeah, thank you for the teachings. We were hoping to come up, but unfortunately, yeah, it's a school day.
cannot hear so well.
No, I said we were hoping to come up to Blue
Oh
Mountain.
yeah, I heard. Yeah. Helen was explaining. Yeah.
Yeah, we
How
are.
is she feeling now?
She's. We are working through it with her. And, I think maybe slowly getting better.
Okay. Yeah, I will keep in my prayers to get.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. No, I will have here. Yeah, that would be better. Yeah.
Is there anything you need?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So I've just got to take
Yeah.
No, I didn't realize that Geshe was 60 when he went to Tibet. I didn't realize he was so old.
He was
I did, yeah, I remember.
Geshe, you're pretty impressive.
old.
You've got to thank it
Okay.
because it's very cold.
Yeah.
The mountains are very cold.
Mountains, yeah. Even in Sydney, it was starting to get cold yesterday.
The middle of summer,
Uh-huh.
I think summer's forgotten us. We've had some good days, but yeah.
Well, I think it seems like the rain was good because it was
Oh, yeah,
so much,
fires and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, fire,
Yeah.
heat waves.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know. And there's been a lot of lightning, but because it's been so wet, there's no fires. Because if there's lightning, sometimes that starts fires.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, the rain's been
In
really good.
2019, that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I just take a photo, Geshe, with you and Tara?
Tara? Okay.
I just can't cope with the fact that she has such big boobs, you know. I wish they could cover them.
Yeah. The artists, yeah.
Well, apparently Rome is open wanted that too, but you know, with a lot of statues, they have that sort of apron across
Yes,
the
yes,
top,
yes.
and I don't know if that's for modesty, but yeah, I wish there was something they could do to
Yeah.
cover it.
Yeah, most of the statues and most of the hanga they put the robe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not so novel.
That artist, you know him, Jackson. He did, you know, in the eye, there's a mural of 21 colours. So that's him, that same artist. Yeah,
The statues are
who
done by
painted it.
okay, painted.
Painted it. It's so beautiful. You know,
Yeah,
all
it is.
the fine details of the flowers and the headdress and stuff. Yeah. So, I have to ask Helen, I hope he's coming tomorrow because I don't know if he, yes, he was here the day they put it together, but it's, yeah. So we've been through quite a few upheavals since we're last here. I'm sure Helen told you.
Yeah, she did.
What's this?
Someone is,
Avatar. Is that what they call avatars?
I guess so. I don't know what they call. Yeah, someone is on the Zoom.
Oh,
Yeah, someone is.
oh, so this is being zoomed now.
Yeah. He was going to come and they wouldn't come, got sick, so they're on Zoom.
Okay. Is Ganson coming to us? The artist?
He hasn't responded
Yeah.
to
Oh,
but
okay.
Geshe Sundu's coming now. Yeah,
Sundu?
Geshe Sundu's gonna come. So Geshe Sundu, you know.
Yeah.
So he was very active in helping us bring Tara. So was Jenny actually getting the painting.
Mhm.
Sorry.
The teacher cannot sit up and do it, someone holds the paper.
Sorry,
Yes.
You're great.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know where we're going to fit on.
Hello. Hi, Eddie. Eddie Porter.
Set up for, supposed to be 19, and we put extra ones down, so it's the fact we've been able to do that. So, do you mind if I move you down a bit? That's fine. Yeah, because I move you down, and we'll move these out of the wall. We'll move all these up. Yeah. It's in a bit. Well, that's not what I'm doing. And there's a very old photo of
Oh, okay.
One lady called Nata, she had it.
Oh, I've seen
one
that
of the
picture.
very few photos, and Tencho had it in the shed, but I'm glad Helen's put it up here.
Mhm.
Do you need some cakes or?
No, I'm good.
biscuits or anything?
Thank you, I'm good.
No, I don't think there is another. It's a little playground, that's not
Yes, please.
Give you some tissue.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
There's one. I thought of it. It's got to find the cost. We know we can do that. Well, did the person? Yeah, I'm just wondering if it was in more than that. You just want to move it up a bit. Yeah, everyone's, yeah, there's so many people. It's short. You made me cry so much. Powerful mission. I guess it's you, James. Megan. Yeah, so Megan. Someone brought back the book.
Yeah. How are you? By yourself or some group? To do retreat or something? To Zoom. For how long you are there?
We're doing
Unit? Okay.
but I can only do like 3 minutes. Bringing back down. It wasn't the cheapest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh. Oh. Just to do new?
Well, she said that I should go there, and then so when we said that, I was like thinking if I'm gonna go there, I would like to.
Yeah.
So they're starting on the 29th of May. They start that.
You couldn't get more time to do the whole session.
The thing is like my work, I don't have to be like half of my like I'll be there for like 12% waking up and then stay 9 things. I think people said she said to go there first before I go back.
Are they in France? Okay.
But thank you for sharing about your story because that's it's just
Yeah, he was.
Like you said,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'll be inspired that
Okay. I'm sure you will enjoy Thubten. Yes. And you are you walking by yourself?
Oh, I have guys. So
Okay, so then you don't have to wait.
it's just
Yeah.
hopefully I get there.
Yeah, you will be waiting. As long as you have someone who know the area and so
I think it's mandatory. You're not allowed to go there anyway without a guide. So thank you, Deborah. Yeah. Down on the net. We got rid of not much, and sure that's great. I need more blue. Some, maybe I put all that blue. You were ready to get it. Yeah, I know. No, we really. I think we did just one on, but if you
So nice to see you.
Yes, wish you were there, but thanks
Yeah, I
for
know.
having us otherwise.
I'm going to show you how many people are here. It's like full house. We're like jam-packed to the rafters.
Wow, wow, wow. That's
And was
awesome.
the setup okay? You can see Geshe quite well from how I have it set up. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I
pretty
wanted you to
amazing.
see Tara as well.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nats is out with Alex at the equine therapy.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And then I think she's gonna drop Alex at school if Alex feels comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she'll come back. But yeah, it's been a challenging
Of course. Yeah.
days. And Nats is really affected.
If there's any chance that you can come up, just come up. Like just even for one of the days. Like, yeah. Just,
Yeah.
we can find somewhere for you guys to sleep if you need. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to go because what's the time? I think we've got to.
Gonna start again, maybe.
I just realized that it's recording and I'm glad it is, but we're in the middle of it. I'll have to cut that out.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
I'm just going to get the gong going.
Is it time for like 5 minutes too, or?
If you want to pass this, someone else. If people need. So I think we'll try to do a short practice. I think you have the booklet there. And then after the practice, then maybe I will open for questions. If anyone has any questions, so then so try to again relax, make yourself comfortable. And try to let go of any stress in body, mind. Feel your weight of your body on cushion or chair. And try to keep your attention on the breath, watching it mindfully and being aware. Then we can try to generate good intention, motivation. Think I'm going to do this practice in order to be greatest help and benefit to all sentient beings. And myself. May this practice become cause and conditions to actualize my highest potential, fully awakened state. And may this become cause and condition to reduce and overcome whatever obstacles there are in order to actualize the path in our mind. And to become Buddha. All the obstacles, external, internal, secret obstacles, to overcome all of them. Then we can think and visualize all sentient beings surrounding yourself as vast as the space. Engage in the practice together. And in the space in front of you, you can visualize, your root guru in the form of Buddha Shakyamuni, and surrounding all the others, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhats, Daga, Daginis, all the holy objects. Just try to feel they are present here. Okay, so then we go to the page number 5. And as we recite, try to feel, as we recite slowly, try to feel the meaning of those words as much as possible. I take refuge in the Holy Guru, essence of all the Buddhas, original grandeur of all holy teachings, and Lord of all supreme beings. Please, Guru Buddha, bestow on me the ability to unify my mind with the Dharma and to be successful in practicing the Dharma in order to achieve the graduated path. May no hindrance occur while achieving this path. Please bless me to realize that I have received a perfect human rebirth, which is highly meaningful for many reasons, difficult to obtain, but precious, transcendent, and fragile, decaying in the shortest moment because of its changeable nature. Thus, my death is definite, but its actual time is most indefinite. And after that, I am far more likely to be born in the lower suffering realms, having created infinite more negative than positive karma in this life and all previous lives. Please bless me to comprehend this infinite is the suffering of the delivered, and I might take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha with all my heart, and realize the evolution of karma in its bounty. It might perform only the virtuous actions and abandon all negative creation. By the practice in this way, I will be reborn in the upper and but still have to experience unlimited samsaric suffering because of uncontrolled delusion and karma. Please bless me to realize fully evolution of samsara from uncontrolled members to the rebirth, and to follow the day and night, the three high training of the path, higher conduct, higher concentration, higher wisdom, which are the main methods to realize me from samsara. But as each sentient being has been my mother's, and as most of them are extreme suffering, please bless me to bring success to all by renounce and the perfect happiness of self and practicing the Bodhisattva deed of perfection with the Bodhisattva mind of exchange himself with others on the basis of equanimity meditation. Thus shall I thoroughly experience the samsaric suffering of all no matter how long, having trained my mind in this path. Please bless me to follow the quick Vajrayana teaching by feeling the sentient beings. My mind suggestive Buddha immediately at this very moment by keeping my ordination and instructions with the best and highest care in time. So then you can visualize the whole refuge field dissolve into the light dissolve into yourself. Your most subtle body, speech, and mind, and the Guru and the Buddha's holy body, speech, and mind, they all become one. So then try to visualize the magnetic field. I will just read and you try to follow the visualizations as much as possible. Above the crown of my head, I visualize a lotus and the moon disk. So don't worry if your visualization is not clear. Just try to be as much as you can and try to feel the presence of that as is mentioned. Upon this is the great treasure of compassion, Aryatara, mother of all enlightened beings, who is oneness with my kind root guru. My root guru is seated in full lotus positions with a transparent bubble of rainbow color light. So you can visualize his one Dalai Lama or any other root guru. Is pink in color, in complexions, and wear a saffron robe, and with a painted head. His right hand is at his heart in the gesture of teaching the Dhamma, and hold a vajra and a stem of white lotus that blooms beside his right ear. His left hand rests on his hip. It holds a bell and the stem of another white lotus that blooms beside his left ear. At my root guru's heart is Aryatara in female aspect. Green in color, seated in dancing posture within the rainbow bubble. Her left leg is bent up and her right leg is outstretched. Her left hand is at her heart in the mudra of symbolizing the three triple gems and holding the stem of blue upala flower. Her right hand extended over her right knee is in the mudra of granting sublime realizations. She is beautifully adorned with the jewel ornaments and the scarves, the celestial robes. And her three places bears the syllables Om, white Om on the crown, red R at the throat, blue Hum at the heart. At her heart is a lotus and moon, seat on which stand a radiant green syllable letter Tam. Rays of green light radiate in all directions from the Tam and invoke all the enlightened beings of the 10 directions. And they all absorb into Aryatara and become one. And then make a strong heartfelt request and prayer. Please remain above my head until I receive enlightenment. And also you can visualize that Mother Aryatara happily accept your request. Okay, so then page number 8, refuge in the Bodhicitta. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly by my merit from giving other perfection. May I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly by my merit from giving other perfections. May I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Supreme Assembly by my merits from giving other perfections. May I become the Buddha in order to benefit all sentient. Then we do the 7 limb practice. With my body, speech, and mind, I devotedly protect. I offer. Then we can take few moments here. You can imagine, whole space filled with washing water, drinking water, and making offerings. Whole space filled with all kinds of flowers, beautiful flowers, making offerings. Whole space filled with incense, making offerings. Whole space filled with light, all kinds of beautiful lights. Making offering. Whole space filled with all the scent, perfume. Making offerings. Whole space filled with all kinds of delicious food, drinks. Making offerings. And making offerings of beautiful music, sound. and making the offerings of all the ornaments, implements, all space filled with all these offerings, all space filled with all the robe, celestial garments, making all those offerings. All the seven preciousness, all the 8 auspicious signs, all the 8 auspicious substance, so making all those offerings. And Guru Aryatara and the rest of the magic field delightfully accepts our offerings, enjoy experience, and generate great bliss and voidness in their heart. Okay, then we can continue the practice. All sins and offenses made from the beginning's time, I confess. I rejoice in all virtuous actions of holy and ordinary beings. O Gurus and Buddhas, please remain until samsara ends and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. All my virtues and those of others I dedicate to the great enlightenment. So then mandala. This ground anointed with the perfume, strewn with the flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. The object of my attachment, aversion, the ignorance, friends, enemies, strangers, and my body, wealth, and enjoyment. Without any sense of loss, I offer this collection. Please accept it with pleasure and bless me with freedom from the 3 poison. Idam Guru Ranam Nitavagandiyataya. So again, I think I will read it and you try to follow the visualizations. Okay. Then again, when I recite the request, you try to feel that request from your heart. Please bless me to purify all obscurations of my body so that it would become one in essence with Guru Tara Holy Vajra body. After that request, then white lights and nectar emanates from the Om syllable at the Aryatara's brow and curves in and out to enter my brow. My body is purified completely of all the obscurations. So all the illness, sickness, all the negative karma that we have created through our body, all the delusion, all the obscurations are completely being purified. And becomes one in essence with Guru Aryatara Holy Vajra body. fully enlightened mark. And the next request. Please bless me to purify all obscuration of my speech so that it will become one in essence with Guru Tara Holy Vajra speech. Your request is accepted very happily, joyfully. Red light and nectar emanates from the red R syllable at the Aryatara's throat and curves in an arc to enter my throat. My speech is purified completely of all the obscurations. So all the negative karma, especially negative karma that we have created, the speech, through speech has been completely purified, cleansed. All the defect in our speech has been completely cleansed, purified. And all negative karma, obscuration, delusions, obscuration be completely purified. And become one in essence with Guru Aryatara's Holy Vajra speech. With enlightened speech of 16 melodies. Then I can make the request. Please bless me to purify all obscuration of my mind so that it will become one in essence with Guru Tara Holy Vajra mind. Your request is delightfully accepted. Then blue light nectar emanates from the blue hung syllable at the Aryatara's heart, curves in an arc to enter my heart, and my mind is purified of all the obscurations. The moment it enters our heart, it purifies all the negative karma, especially negative karma created with our mind. And purify all the negative minds, all the delusions, all the obscurations. And becomes one in essence with Guru Aryatara's Holy Vajra mind. The omniscient mind, all-knowing mind. Then I can make the request. Please bless me to purify all the delusion and subtle obscurations to omniscience, so that my body, speech, and mind will become one with Guru Aryatara's holy body, speech, and mind. And Guru Aryatara extremely pleased with your request and grant your request. Now the three colored beams, white, red, blue. Beams and nectar emanates simultaneously from the white Om at crown of Guru Aryatara, red R at throat, and blue Hung at Hung syllable at the heart, curving in an arc and entering my three places, body, speech, crown, and throat and heart, completely purifying all my delusions and subtle obscuration to omniscient. My body, speech, and mind become one in essence with root Guru, Aryatara, holy body, speech, and mind. Then my root Guru dissolve into Aryatara. Aryatara who melts into the green light. And that green light flows into me. Instantly, my wrong conceptions that I and all other phenomena are self-existent, together with my dualistic mind and its view, completely disappear, becoming completely empty. Not even a trace of them remain. So try to feel and rest in that. Concentrate one point in this empty state with a wisdom that is indistinguishable one with the Guru Aryatara bliss with the omniscient mind. So with that very blissful mind, blissful wisdom mind, that is one with that emptiness. Try to experience and try to rest in that. Then out of that emptiness, my wisdom that is perceiving that emptiness instantly, as for those who have taken Tara initiation, then they can visualize themselves as Aryatara. Those who doesn't have initiations, then you can just visualize yourself as becoming not in Aryatara form, but just enlightened being. Similar to same in essence, same, but in different aspect, different form. Aryatara holy body, seated upon lotus and moon cushions. At my heart is another lotus and moon, upon which is the center, which in the center stand the syllable thumb, green thumb. Surrounded in clockwise directions by the syllables of mantra Om Tare Tutare Turi Soha. And those mantras are transparent. And having the sound of that mantra, Om Tare Tutare Turi Soha. The thumb and the mantras, surrounding mantras of the Tara, are manifestations of Guru Aryatara's holy mind, with which my mind is totally united, one, inseparable. So that letter or syllable is not ordinary letter or syllable, but it is the wisdom, enlightened wisdom manifesting in that. And the sound is not ordinary sound, it's an enlightened wisdom manifesting that sound. Including that sound. Then green light radiates from all the letters, the mantras, spreading in every directions, like the sunlight. It purifies the negative karma, gross delusions, and subtle obscuration to omniscient of all sentient beings who become Tara. The moment the light radiate and touch, that very moment, all the karma, delusion, obscuration completely purified and transform all sentient beings transformed into Aryatara. Again, light radiate, bearing manifold offering to the six transcendental senses of all the Buddhas and sentient beings who have become a Tara. So you can visualize making offerings to all the Buddha of 10 directions and all sentient beings who have transformed into Tara. The enlightened beings are extremely pleased and shower down the superlative qualities of the Buddhas, Aryatara's holy body, holy speech, and holy mind. The omniscient wisdom, the supreme power, and infinite compassions in the form of great shower of light rays. And as we recite the mantra, we observe and being blessed by this rain of all this realization. So while keeping that visualizations, as much as possible. We recite the mantras. So it's in page number 11. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re So Ha. 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 Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re So. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re So Ha. 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 Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Tare Tu Re So. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Om Tare Tu Tare Tu So. Om Tare Tu Tare So. Om Tare Tu Om Tare. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re So Ha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re So. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re So Ha. 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 Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re So. So you can feel whole your body is feeling all these realizations of limitless, unconditional love, compassion, bodhicitta, mind, and wisdom. Every cell, every part, every atom is made all of that. Enlightened compassion and wisdom. So then we do the 21 Tara press. Page number 17. We do the invocations and then prostration. Oda la ye ne jo ne ta me chang go le ro je o ba me ye o la ge tu son sang ge chi le ma do ma po je she so so la da la mi je be ge sha ge be me la de ne bon ba ku le do ze ma do ma yu la cha. We go to the chantable versions, which is on page number 25. Homage to Arya, Venerable Arya, homage to you, Dada Suveo, whose eyes are like instant flash of lightning, whose words are born from the blooming lotus. O Lord, Sherab, protector of the homage to you, Dada, whose face is like a beautiful atom would gather. I think it was the other versions. Maybe the first one, sorry. Maybe one of you have to lead it.
English?
Yeah. And rest of the so then go to the dedications. Page number 11. May I quickly become Guru Arya Sara and lead each and every sentient being into an enlightened state because of this merit. May the Supreme Soul of the Theta that is not arise, and may that which is arising not diminish but increase more. Okay. So I think maybe at the moment we'll just do that. So any questions from this morning? In later session, I will try to explain a little bit the practice itself. The practice which we just did. So I will go through a little bit the practice itself, and then again we do once the other session practice. So any questions, comments, questions so far in this morning talk? Who is going to be the most courage one? After some time, then there might be too much questions. Yes, please.
This morning, you said that Tara is an enlightened being, but you also said something about the Prajna Paramita is also an enlightened something or other, but I don't quite understand that.
In Tibetan, Prajna Paramita is for Gallium Sherab Chimba. Gallium, Galway Yum, Galwa means the Buddhas or victorious one, Yum means the mother. So mothers of Prajna Paramita is normally known as the mother of all the victorious one of the Buddhas. The way why it says that is because, as we see in the Heart Sutra, at the later part, where all the Buddhas, past, present, futures, all arises from that wisdom. The wisdom relies on emptiness. Okay, so all the Buddhas of past, present, future, all the directions are able to achieve their fully enlightenment on the basis of that wisdom relies on the emptiness, the Prajna Paramita. So therefore, the Prajna Paramita is like the mother who gives birth to all this Buddha. Okay. So you see that, and also similarly, here Mother Tara is like that. So that gives birth to all the others. So that was what I was saying about the Prajna Paramita. Normally, a Prajna Paramita, the title is there, Prajna Paramita, the mother of all the victorious ones. And the reason it says that, I think at the end of Heart Sutra, there is, just before we recite the mantras, there is that mentioned. Okay? Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, please.
Just like I said, Mother Tara and all the Buddhists always look sentient beings with compassion. And even though like we make so many mistakes, can you explain more about that and how they're able to do that? Because like for us, we're always like beating ourselves and everything like that. And just miss 1 second, you're like, you're like already like, so are you able to explain more about that and how the Buddhists can see us with compassion despite of all of it?
Mhm. Yeah. The Buddhas, their love, their compassion is limitless and unconditional. Whether we praise them or whether we criticize them, their love, compassion is the same. Whether we make offering or whether we take their offerings, still their offerings. From their side, the love and compassion is the same. Neither it decrease. From their side, that is such unconditional, unbiased love and compassion. Whether we make mistake or whether we don't make mistake, their love, compassion is equal. That doesn't change, from the Buddha side. But from our side, we would like to create the merit. Therefore, we like to, do the prayers, such as praising, make offerings, not because they will be pleased, but because it's for ourselves to create the merit ourselves. In terms of their attention, love, compassion is equal, whether you do or not. Their love is not that they are going to have more love and more compassion if we do that, and less compassion if we don't. Nothing to do with that from their side, but from our side, we need to create a cause and condition. We need to improve our devotions, our faith, our love, our compassion, our wisdom as a part of that practice. Then we try to do that. So, so in that sense, knowing that you will not be punished just because we make a mistake. It's not like ordinary, like if you make mistake in your practice, pronunciations, or missing some or overdoing some, it's not that the Buddha will be upset and punish, but of course we try to do as best as possible, and trying to do as best as possible, but knowing that, from their side, the love and compassion are always there, and so I think that would be one thing to know, so that we don't beat up ourselves, and one of the things that, we have to be is, of course, sometimes we want to do everything perfectly, but sometimes we are unable to do perfectly. Instead of being harsh on ourselves because I couldn't do perfectly, you should rejoice that you put the effort to do it. It is all how we look at it. Even someone who make a mistake, they try to do something with a mistake, and someone who doesn't even try. Do you get it? Even as a teacher or as a parent, when your child or the student try to do something, even when sometimes they make mistake, you appreciate them, you encourage them. You feel good. They are trying. They are trying to get better. They are trying to improve. Are they perfect? No. There's a long way to go to them to perfect. But at least they are trying. At least they are starting. So you encourage them. You become happy as a parent or as a teacher. Same way, you try to rejoice. I couldn't do perfectly, but at least I'm trying to do. At least I'm putting the effort to do. And that is wonderful. That's great. That's the beginning. That is a progress. So I think that is something we have to learn to look at that. Even sometimes when you're trying to meditate, your mind might be wandering here and there. and you sometimes we might be harsh on, oh, what is the point of sitting here when my mind is wandering everywhere here and there? What is the point of doing this meditation or practice or any prayer when my mind is not fully there in that? We can be harsh on that, or we can be, rejoicing. At least I'm trying to sit. Even just sitting requires effort, discipline, intentions. Just having that intentions to sit and do the practice is a positive mind. Just trying to sit requires some discipline, and there is some discipline in that. So through that kind of thinking, then you try to rejoice instead of being harsh. And I think that's important in our practice, and it is because, it requires the good intention and effort even to make trying to do that. So, yeah. Any other questions? And I think that way of thinking, if we train our life to do that, then we learn to be less harsh on ourselves, and also we learn to be less harsh on others. Instead of saying, oh, they are not perfect, we say, oh, they are trying. They are putting effort. It's wonderful, great. They are not perfect. They make mistake, but they are trying. So you can become more kinder, more understanding, more gentle. And that way of contemplating thinking is helpful, whether we are dealing with others or we are dealing with ourselves. Important to kind of train our mind to look that way. Yeah. Okay. Any? Yes, there's one more. Yes.
One point when you were describing the symbolism of Mother Tara, and you said, I think it was the left hand with the lotus that was representing the past, word, and or future. Is that this one here on the left hand side, the ones above?
Yeah, normally it's sometimes it depends on the artist, because sometimes there is three kind of lotus like that, holding lotus. You can see one fully blossom. One is kind of opening, not fully blossom. And sometimes there is a seed, so you can see one fully blossom, one just starting to blossom, one seed. And the seed represent the past Buddha. Fully blossom represent the present Buddha. And then half blossom, which is ready to blossom, is a future Buddhas. It represents that.
And are they sort of the emanations of Tara herself, or are they representing sentient beings?
They're representing the Buddha, past Buddha of Kashyapa. Yeah, Kashyapa, present Buddha Shakyamuni, future Maitreya Buddha. Yeah. Yeah.
And was Tara, because how you were saying that Mother Tara came from the tears of
Avalokiteshvara.
And then we've got the Heart Sutra where Avalokiteshvara was with Buddha Shakyamuni. So was Mother Tara sort of present in those with the past Buddhas as well, before
One way of looking at it, just as I mentioned about the Prasnapada Binda as the mother of all the enlightened beings. Similarly, we can also look all the past, present, futures, Buddhas coming from the Mother Taras, especially if we look, Mother Tara is the kind of the enlightened, compassionate that manifests in that female form, Then again, the bodhicitta or compassion is also the root of all the Buddhas. Without the bodhicitta mind, without the great compassion, there's no bodhicitta. Without the bodhicitta, there's no Buddha. So all the Buddhas come through the bodhicitta mind, and the bodhicitta mind come through the great compassions. And Tara is coming from manifestation of that great compassions. So in essence, then, all the Buddhas also arising from the Mother Taras, And so maybe that way we can look, even though I haven't seen exactly that way explaining in commentary, but maybe that we can try to understand that too, maybe, in that way. Yeah. Yes, please.
The different mudras. Could you go over the different mudras?
Yeah. This is Chokjin, is the mudra Chokjin, supreme gesture or supreme giving. And so it's a gesture of giving the supreme realizations. It's a gesture of Gyabjin, of giving the refuge. Sometimes it represents the 3 jewels, and mudra of teachings, when 2 hands, sometimes just 1 hand, mudra of meditations, sometimes it's just 1, sometimes both, and then there are some different wrathful mudras, especially related with the more protectors and wrathful ones. But normally those are some of the more common mudras, earth-touching mudras, with the Buddha Shakyamuni here, like this way, touching the earth. Yeah, so those are some of the, yeah. Okay, so then maybe we have an hour-and-a-half break for the lunch, and then we come at 1:30. Yeah. 1:30. 1:30. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.